Good evening, one and all. I hope you're all staying safe. We are in the fourth episode of Art and Artist. What is art and artist? I know I've been telling in the last three episodes, but I just wanted to make sure, I give a quick brief so that, if somebody is seeing this video freshly, so they get a good idea about it. Art and Artist is an initiative to preserve the history of artists and the service they did to the art. There were lots and lots of artists who did a great service to the field of art, and these artist details, the history of those artists and their achievements, their service to the art, were all taught to the students via Gurukulam. And fortunately or unfortunately, Gurukulam was a great um, thing, but we had challenges in preserving the details because, due to um, the reason why I said fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately, the Gurukulam was a great thing, so that was fortunate. Unfortunately means in the recent days we did not have them. Much of Gurukulam things followed, so due to which these artists' histories are not available anymore. Or it's very difficult to find. So that is the reason we have this initiative to preserve the history of art and artists in terms of blogs, in terms of videos, and in terms of articles and books, right? So that's the story behind it. And it is not possible to cover all the artists in the world by me, by doing a weekly series, right? So we will be doing a small, launch of calling the volunteers, in the near future. So I would like each one of you, whoever is seeing this video, to at least find the details about the artist who you know about it, or if you wanted to explore the details about some of the artists, please go ahead and do that, and then we will help you to create a videos or bloggers on those, and then we can you can also contribute to this, right? So if you are a student, you can talk about your guru, your guru's guru, and or the artist who you are interested in, right? So that's all about it. So stay tuned for the the great launch of calling the volunteers. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. So who is he? I was really surprised to see the details about him, and at least I'm being a layman. Obviously, I will not know about most of these artists, but I'm sure the people who are in the field of music, they definitely know about him. But so I'll try to cover some of the details for the people who are who want to get to know about Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. He was born on the year 1837, um, and then originally he is from the village near Tanjavur, and then so he lived in Trichy. So the great place called Malaikottai. Um, that's where he lived in. I think I made a small mistake there. Um, actually he is born on 1878, I believe. Okay, so he lived in Trichy, and then uh, he's spent a lot of his time in most of his life in Trichy, and then I think he had some um, health issues, and then returned back to the Tanjavur, and then I think he did die on March 13th, 1931. Right. Okay. So unfortunately, not much of family details are available about his fathers or spouse and things like that. He had a son called Krishna Swami Pillai, and his grandson is TK Ramamurthy. Um, if you guys know about Mellisai Mannarhal, Vishwanathan Ramamurthy, he is the Ramamurthy, the grandson of Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. And Krishna Swami Pillai, the son of Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai, is also a violinist. Okay, so next. Okay, so in his young age, Govindaswamy Pillai started his Gurukulam from Umayalpuram, Panjabakesha Iyer. So he was learning from him for a while, and then he moved on to learn from Etayapuram, Kodandabani Bhagavatar. So they were the great gurus of Govinda Swami Pillai, and he learned lot of techniques and with great sincerity and the dedication, I would say. So that's what made him to become a great musician. Because if you look at one thing, what we had in those days are the Guru-shishya parampara, the respect to the Guru, and Guru knows what to teach to the students, and students just wait for the Guru to teach whatever they wanted to teach. And like Guru knows when to stage the students, and like those days, the Guru will be happy if the students perform greater, the better than the Guru, right? So they want to make sure their students are like shining in the field of art, right? So that is the level of dedication the gurus had. And similarly, the students will never insist the guru to teach them a specific item or whatever. They used to request, or sometimes they don't even talk about that, like the guru knows what to teach. But one thing the gurus did was, the gurus will never prize the shishyas in front of the shishya. He might say to the others like, yes, he did well, but like when they talk to the shishya, you would have been doing but good, but I think you would still need some more improvements and things like that. Okay, so enough of the advice, but I think so Govinda Swami Pillai undergone a training from these two gurus. And what are some of the great qualities or specialities of Govinda Swami Pillai? Right, he is a violinist, right? So he used to play violin, and he is the one, basically you can say, the created the technique of playing the full bow. When you play the violin, it used to be not that the people are not don't play the full bow earlier, but he is the one who created the technique of playing the full bow. And he is very good at raga alapana. People used to listen to, this is again from various blogs whatever I read. So used to really wait to hear his raga alapana. And there he used to play a awesome alapanas. And similarly kalpanaswaras also, he had a very good knowledge in playing the kalpanaswaras as well. And people used to say that his music is really a pure music. He had a purity in the music, and he can play all the three styles. Basically, you have the lower octave and then the normal and then the higher octave, right? So all the three styles he can play, and similarly, all the three columns, first, second, third speed, very, very fluently he can play. And he has also got some of the techniques of tanam playing. So he did some unique technique on tanam playing. So that was also a great treat to the rasikas of Govinda Samay Pillai. And he was also a like player of flute and mridangam. So it's not about just violin, right? He can also play mridangam and flute. I think there was also a couple of concerts where he played flute and mridangam as well. And not only that, like any instrument is easy for him. So he had sishyas who want to learn veena. They also came to learn from Govinda Swami Pillai. You might be wondering how come a violin with one can teach Veena, but I think he had like, really a great broad-minded and vast knowledge on music, so he could do that. Another aspect also we could look at later, because he was a close friend of Vinay Dhanammal, meaning like they were kind of great brother and sister, like brother and sister kind of like, and they had a great like understanding, and then like they used to like talk in some of the programs, or like the events as well. Okay, so as a violinist, he used to play solos, and I think he played some of the solos concerts, and he played with many of the fellow artists. So some places he played duos, and then some places he played trios, meaning like we had like three of them played together. And he has accompanied lots and lots of like artists. So the picture you see here, the violin artist in this picture is Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. Right, I know the picture is very blurred and it's very difficult to identify people in it, but as I said, it's very difficult to get the like details of some of these artists. I think how we each of these artists, we have to have students to do a PhD about each of these artists, meaning they can go and collect all the details from various people who been either like interacting with him, or from some of his their Shishya Paramparas. Soon we will do that as well. Okay, so Shishya Parampara, um, the well-known Papa Venkatramanaya is a great Shishya of Govindaswamy Pillai. Actually, Venkatramanaya had like always willing to learn from Govindaswamy Pillai, but I think it was like, and I think there was a function in Chennai where I think it was Vinay Dhanammal's like some relative function. So that's where like Vinay Dhanammal could introduce like Venkatramanaya to Govindaswamy Pillai, and then like Govindaswamy Pillai also agreed to teach him, so he started learning from him. And obviously his son Malaikottai Swami Pillai also was learning from him, and they were all like great musicians. So we will be listening, because we'll be listening to Papa Venkatramanayya's like the violin piece now, because unfortunately, at least I couldn't find any recordings of Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. My humble request is the people who are seeing this video, in case if you have any such recordings, please do share with me. I will like append to this video, and then it will be available for people to listen in. Okay, now let's listen a small clip from Venkatramanaya.
You will now hear a kriti of Tyagaraja in the rag Hamsadhvani, played on the violin by the late Venkataramaya. This is set to Adi Tal.
Great. I think we were really amazed, and like I think it was really a great like music to listen to. Okay, so we will be like getting to know more about Venkatramanaya in another series, but there are a couple of small incidents related to Govindaswamy Pillai we need to highlight here. Actually, when Venkatramanaya wanted to learn from him, so he's ready to learn. He's ready to teach, and then he started teaching. And but actually, when he knows he is in the last days of his life, I think he was still teaching. So Govinda Pillai, he was teaching, and the last raga he was teaching was Gaula, and I think he used to call it as it is Vinay Dhanamal's property. And I think after all the formalities, like once Govinda Swami Pillai passed away, and Venkatramanaya was there, and then after all the formalities are done, when Venkatramanaya went back to Chennai, in those days it was called Madras. So he called up, basically he did make a phone call to Dhanammal, and then was telling about this one, and then she was really sad to hear the news. At the same time, she agreed to teach to Venkatramanaya, right? And then again she also started the lessons with the Gaula Raga. Okay. So that's one thing. And I also forgot to mention a couple of things about the greatness of Govindaswamy Pillai. So uh, basically, when he, when he sees talent in someone and he encourages them, at the same time, he gives the credit to the appropriate artist, right? So unlike the current generations where there are a lot of politics has been played in getting concerts and other stuff, but those days the artist was really the great gems, and they were the great human beings, right? So that's what when I talked about this the incident about where Govinda Pillai was talking about Vinay Dhanamal's property about Kavalaraga. That shows how much the um, uh, great humanity he had in him, right? And there was also a couple of other incidents I have to talk about him. So once, actually, okay, so along with Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai, there were three other musicians. Basically, they used to have basically the two others they call them as trios. Basically, Kumbakonam and Alagiyanambi Pillai and Pudukkottai Dakshinamurthy Pillai and Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. These three were called trios, and they used to go to most of the concerts together. And they had a vocalist called Kanjipuram Naina Pillai. So they were all making lots and lots of concerts, performing in various stages and various functions. It could be like sabas, or it could be marriage functions, or it could be any of the family events and things like that, right? And I think unfortunately, after Kanjipuram Naina Pillai passed away, so these trios were wanted to make sure they have a great vocalist who can join them, right? So at particular time, the Kanchipuram Naina Pillai was not able to make it, and that's where they called Chempai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar. So, and he came and performed, and basically, in those days they say, right? So, when you talk about movies, they introduce a new artist and a new hero and things like that. So this was kind of incident for Champai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar for him to get a popularity. So he took up that as an opportunity and started singing in that concert, and his voice was awesome, and the hall was full, and the streets were people was really amazed to listen to their music. So look at the broad mind where the mm, Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai had. So so he want to make sure give opportunity for whoever having a talent and wanted to promote them. That's one thing. And um, you would have heard about Alathur brothers. They were there in Trichy also, right? So they had a training on a daily basis, and one of their daily routine is to listen to Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai plays or practices between 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. And look at the dedication and the hard work they have done on those days, because though that is the time where you will not have any disturbance, and you can peacefully you can enjoy playing all the music whatever you wanted, right? So Govinda Samapillai plays between 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. and Alathur brothers, their one of their task routine is daily routine is to listen to the music during that time. See how the involvement in the music to play and practice in the early in the morning, and also look at how the other gurus were encouraged to listen to other musicians. Alathur brothers guru encouraged them to listen to Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai's the violin music. See the coordination or cooperations are the um, pricing to each other in those days. Nowadays we don't even ready to just say after the concert we don't even go to the stage and encourage those artists. I had a I still have the practice of after every concert I used to go to the stage or a backstage or wherever we can meet the artist. I personally thank them and encourage them. I think I would also encourage each one of you to do that, because for artists that means a lot. Okay, so get back to the business. There are few other service he did to the field of art. So he was part of Tyagaraja Aradhana. He was he used to love Tyagaraja Kritis a lot. So he was part of Tyagaraja Aradhana as well, and he was performing in those Aradhanas as well. And in those days, in Tyagaraja Aradhana, there were two parties. Basically, you have a Pariyakachi and Chinnakachi, which means the big party and then the small party. So, Govinda Swami Pillai was part of the the bigger party, and he was there for a lot of time, to arrange the aradhanas, and I think that was also a really commendable. The capabilities he had on arranging the events, that was also a great called out for Govinda Swami Pillai. And over the period of time, I think he has given that responsibilities to Tiruveli Malai brothers, and they continued to do till 1941. Right? And Govinda Swami Pillai was a Tamil scholar, and he was really a great believer of Saiva Siddhantam. So he used to talk about a lot on the Saiva Siddhantam as well. And Mangudi Chidambara Bhagavatar. So he basically talked. He is a Harikatha exponent. He talked about many of the incidents from the Govinda Swami Pillai's life, and also some of the achievements or the dedication he had towards the art. So it's great to get to know such kind of artist, and also we should really bring out these kind of artist details more and more. So I was really with the tears in my eyes, because it's very difficult to find the details about these artists. Maybe uh, it's it's not a lot more people talked about them, or they made. I'm not sure that is not the case, because lots and lots of people would have spoken about, because their music was great. And I think it's just that over the period of time, so we were not really spend time in preserving the history and the details about these artists. There was also one magazine in Shruti which talked about Malaikottai Govindaswamy Pillai. And I think those are some of the sources we have, and I think we have to create more and more sources. That's why my humble request to every one of you is, please start contributing this initiative. So I'll be sending a uh, poster about how each one of you can contribute, and I'll also talk about the details of how you can contribute in a small blog with FAQs. So please do share with your circle, and I think if each one of you talk about your guru and your guru's guru or your guru parampara, that itself is good enough for us to preserve the art. Hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll meet you in the next session with another interesting artist. Thank you and have a good evening.